We'll move on to our penultimate presenter. Don't forget, we still have the random slide. It's easy. If anybody just wants to have a go, you know, feel free. Just see me. We'll put you on at the end. But we'll move on to our penultimate performer, who is going to be Lydia Slack. So let's give a warm welcome, please, for Lydia Slack. Yay!
It was spring 2001. I was still at primary school, and the National Farmers Union was introducing a policy to encourage farmers to invite classes of children round farms to give them a taste of farm life and where food comes from. I asked Dad which class from our school we would invite first. He said he just wanted one person at a time. Rather than giving a class of 30 a taste, we'll give one person the full brainwash. I had just the person in mind, Melissa Matthewson. Melissa was a vegetarian. 11 years old, her favourite TV programmes were Pet Rescue, Animal Hospital and Vets in Practice. Her ambition, to be a vet. She was of the opinion that all animals lived a long and trouble-free life and died peacefully of old age. She'd obviously had little contact with sheep. As school finished on that fateful day, I walked into the school car park with Melissa. She said, "There's a tramp next to an old banger, waving at you." It was Dad. Next to our Land Rover. There were strict instructions about picking me up in that Land Rover. It should be parked at least a quarter of a mile away from the school gates, in a camouflage location, and preferably downwind. So we jumped into the Land Rover and headed straight for home, and I immediately took Melissa into the lambing shed. Her eyes lit up. This is farming at the sharp end. Dad was just struggling, lambing a big single ewe lamb coming backwards. A very difficult presentation. Once the lamb was out, he followed the usual policy. First, he stood back and admired the size of the lamb for about half a second. Then he wondered why it wasn't breathing, so he gently massaged the lamb to try and stimulate it. I then saw Dad's panic-stricken face, which told me the lamb still wasn't breathing. So he went into what paramedics would call emergency CPR, the technical term for sticking a piece of straw up a lamb's nose. And despite the lambing shed being full of straw, there's never a piece of straw the right size. So the next stage in CPR is to swing the lamb round very quickly by its back legs. Unfortunately, once it reached what must have been 140 RPM, it slipped out of my dad's hand. I can't say whether it was the flying through the air, the impact of the lambing shed wall, or the cold water as it plunged into the water trough, but it coughed and spluttered, gave a loud blart and got going. And as my dad passed Melissa, he said, "And that, Melissa Matthewson, is how to revive a lamb." We finished off the afternoon by having tea, with Mum's special vegetarian sausages, containing her secret ingredient, pork. After this visit, we decided to stick to the more conventional method and invite classes round our farm. And the last class we had round was last lambing time. And my dad was just struggling lambing a big single ewe lamb coming backwards. Again, a very difficult presentation. And it proved too much for the teachers and children, and they drifted away, as he wasn't making much headway, apart from two 7-year-old girls who stayed till the bitter end. After 15 minutes, he dragged this lamb out backwards and it lay lifeless in his arms. So to revive it, he did what he normally does, swing it round by its back legs very quickly and give it a big smack on the back to shock it into life. And one girl said to the other, "That'll teach it, it'll not run up there again." So if you see a farmer swinging something round by its back legs, Don't worry, he's just trying to revive it. Thank you.
Thanks, Lydia Slack. What a great story that is. Brilliant. Thank you.